everyone, this is Andrew from MobileBurn.com taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S4. When you take a first glance, you might notice it looks a little similar to the Samsung Galaxy S3, but there are some obvious changes. It doesn't have as much a round edge to it. When you look at the side, it's also a little more square, and it's a little taller, so you can see that they kind of took some of the lessons that they got from the S3, but they changed some things around. In terms of thinness, it's pretty thin that they mentioned before, 7.9 millimeters, and you can see it's taller because of the screen. The screen is now 4.99 inches. It's a big display. It's Super AMOLED, 1920 by 1080, so that's 441 pixels per inch. It's a pretty bright display. It is Super AMOLED, so if you're not a fan of Super AMOLED, you're gonna have something to complain about for sure. But if you are a fan or you don't have an issue with it, it's gonna be a very nice screen for you. They can't say anything about the processor yet because there are going to be two different versions. They haven't said any specifics, but my guess is the rumors about it being one Exynos and one Qualcomm. Depending on your market, it's going to be the same. But of course, on the back you have a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. On the front you have a 2 megapixel camera. And speaking of the camera, they made an interesting little change to the camera software. You might not use it, but it'll be there in case you want. You'll notice that as I'm talking, there's a little floating view of the front-facing camera. That's me waving my thumb. That's because it has dual camera. Basically, the front-facing camera activates while I'm taking a picture. So it takes one of my the person holding the camera as well as the subject on the rear camera, and you can save an image. It looks kind of weird. I don't really see much use for that, but I'm sure there's going to be someone that takes the use of it and finds a way to incorporate it. Aside from that, it comes in 32 or 64 gigabyte in terms of storage. And you have a micro SD slot that has 64 gigabytes, and it has a battery that's pretty big, 2600 milliamp, and it is removable. I can't remove it because of the security software on here, but take my word for it, that's how it is. Aside from that, let's take a look at some of the other software features. It will support LTE in a variety of markets, but when you look into the app drawer, you can see you can kind of switch between certain things. I have some popular apps right here. These apps can actually be split into two screens, so when I hold down and drag one, then I hold and drag another, and to the top, so now you can see I'm using maps and messages at the same time. So if I see an address in an email, I want to take a look at it, I can have a little split screen view, which is kind of cool. You can also tap to return back to full screen and just go about your business. When you scroll down, you see there are still some carryovers from Android 4.22. That's what it's running with TouchWiz on top of it. And they've added a lot of gimmicky features. When you go to the settings menu, you can kind of take a tour through them. You can have screen mirroring, which will allow you to have your display come on another device. And they've done a lot with this thing called Smart Screen. Smart Screen is basically going to use eye tracking software to kind of get some ideas of what you want to do. With Smart Stay, as the screen stays on, as long as you're looking at it, it's going to look at your eyes to tell if you're looking. If you look away, it's going to go away, which you've kind of seen. It has smart rotation, which automatically adjusts. So if I tilt the phone like this, that's not the rotation happening, but it'll recognize my eyes and see that it needs to change the orientation as well. So if you're like laying down in bed and you want to do it that way, you can do that. It also has smart pause. When you enable that and you're watching a video, if you look away from the screen, it'll automatically know to pause, which is another kind of cool feature. There's also a feature that allows you to pretty much use AirView like you did on the Galaxy Note 2, but except of using the S Pen, all you have to do is hover over a screen. I'm trying it right now. The sensor seems to not be as accurate as the S Pen. You have to get a little bit closer without touching it. It gets to the point where you might not even feel the need to. It might be quicker to actually just tap it than rather than wait around for to pick up on the sensor. That's kind of a disappointment. I'm guessing that over time they'll refine this and make it a little better, but when I hover over, it didn't seem to work there. Let me try to go back. Okay, there we go. So it takes a little while. It's not instant. So at that point, instead of just waiting around for the preview, you might as well just tap on the screen.